Welcome to More WordPerfect, the video designed to help you get more from word processing through WordPerfect. We assume you have a basic knowledge of your computer and its disk operating system, that you can navigate your way around your disk drives, that you understand how to name and use files, and that you know your way around your keyboard and can move the cursor around your screen. If not, you might be interested in our video, Introduction to MS-DOS. We also assume you have a general understanding of WordPerfect, that you can call up WordPerfect, create, print, and save documents, as well as do simple formatting. In other words, that you've seen our Introduction to WordPerfect video. In today's video, you will learn mail merge, how to create many personalized letters and documents from one basic letter, and how WordPerfect can address and label them. You'll learn how to use macros to shortcut the making of repetitive forms, how to create columns and word wrap in each column for scripts and newsletters, how to automatically create outlines, work on 2 documents at the same time, use the thesaurus, and create and print footnotes. This video is presented from your point of view. That is, we try to show you what you will be seeing on the screen or in your immediate work area as you use your computer and software. So you'll see a lot of screens and keyboards just like in real life. Our method is not to delve into every nook and cranny, but create a typical and useful example. We're confident that once you see how the program works, you can begin to successfully explore all the other features and applications. Finally, this video is not intended to take the place of your documentation and third-party reference books, but it will make them more useful. It will help you look in the right places, and we hope make the answers you find there more understandable. If we are doing this right, you can compress into a few days or weeks what it takes most users 6 months to learn. So let's get started. More WordPerfect. The first thing we're going to talk about in this video is the merge feature, sometimes called mail merge or list processing. Merge documents are created by bringing together a text document called the primary file and a list document called the secondary file. The primary file contains the text each merge document has, such as a form letter, as well as codes in those places the specific individual information from the list document is inserted. To help you understand how all the pieces fit together, let's try this out. The first document we're going to create is the list, or secondary document. As you can see, this document looks like names and addresses with codes tacked on. The codes inform WordPerfect where to place various bits of information from your list document into your primary document. Let's clear the screen and try creating this document. This first field is the name followed by an end field code. End field is used so commonly it has its own designation, which is the F9 key used alone. The second field is the address, again followed by an end field code. As you can see here, you can have more than one line per field. The third field is the salutation, again followed by F9 or end field. Now we have a complete set of information, or record, and need to indicate that with another code, and end record, or E code. Bring up the Merge Codes menu by pressing Shift F9. Select 2, or E, and you see that the end record code and a page break appear. Now you're ready to set up your second record. You'll notice the second field of the second record has 2 lines instead of 1. A field can have more than 1 line of information as long as you insert the end field code after the second line of the field, as we are doing here. We now type our third record. When you're finished typing, save, name, and exit this document. We're calling it names.lst. Now, let's type a primary file. Our example is a letter from Julie Anderson regarding travel arrangements. As you can see, this letter has regular text and coded text. The code, date, will bring up the current date when we merge. The codes Field 1, Field 2, and Field 3 will bring up a name, address, and salutation. Merge functions are controlled by the F9 key. Anytime you want to insert a code in text, use Shift F9 to bring up the Merge Codes menu. With the menu showing, type 6 or M for more. Then type a D for the date code, which will be inserted at your cursor location, or arrow down to date and press Enter. If you don't like this location, backspace to erase. Move your cursor to where you do want the date and select 6, then D from the Merge Codes menu again. Remember, throughout the creation of this document, that codes will be inserted at the cursor location. Bring up the Merge Codes menu again, and this time type a 1 or F, which stands for Field. At the Enter Field prompt, press 1 and Enter. Your first field is inserted. Position your cursor, then bring up the Merge Codes menu again, Shift F9, and select F again. This time, type a 2 and return, and your second field code appears. Bring up the Merge Codes menu once again selecting F. Then select 3. Return, and your third field code appears. Go on into typing the body of the letter. If you wish, you can insert field codes within the body of your letter to add a more personalized touch. Save, name, and exit your completed letter. You can do all these things using F7. In our example, we're calling this document Travel Period LTR. Before you can merge the list with the letter, you must have a blank screen as we do here. Select the Merge/Sort function using Control/F9. At the prompt, choose Option 1. We called our primary file Travel Period LTR, so we will type that here and then Enter. At the next prompt, we will type the name of our second document, Names Period LST, and Enter. Now move your cursor up the document. Notice a page break is inserted automatically for you at the end of each letter. You can edit this document, print it as is, save it, or not save it as you choose. Most will not save these merged files because they are so easy to put back together again, and they can unnecessarily take up large amounts of hard disk space. For now, let's save it anyway so that you can come back to it later for reference. We'll call it Merger. The merge function can also be used for typing commonly used forms. Let's set up a memo form. Center and type Memorandum. Then come down a few lines and type To and tab over once. Now bring up your Merge Codes menu and select 6 or M for more. At the small window that appears in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, cursor down until you find the word Keyboard and press Enter. Follow the same procedure for From. When you get to Date, choose the 6 or M for More again, and press D for the date code, and then Enter to automatically insert the current date. Then type RE:, and select Keyboard from the Merge Codes menu again. Type a solid line by pressing the Escape key. The Escape key is also known as the Repeat key. Then type 67, followed by the equals key. Press Return a couple of times to come down a few lines. Now save this document. Name it something simple, and exit the document. We'll call it Memo. From your blank screen, choose Merge/Sort with Control/F9. Choose Option 1. At the primary file prompt, type the name of your memo form. Ours is called Memo Period FRM. At the secondary file prompt, hit Return, which tells WordPerfect that the screen is your secondary file. Your memo form appears, and your cursor is positioned at the first place you need to enter variable information. Fill in the information, then hit F9 to continue. Notice the date is inserted for you, and the last time you hit F9, your cursor jumps to the position you left it in when you saved your memo form document. You can reuse the memo form any time, and you can set up a variety of forms in this way using a macro, too, which we will explore in greater detail later. For now, save, name, and exit this document. We'll use it later. We'll call ours Joe Memo. Sort is the second feature of the F9 key we're going to discuss. We're going to look at a basic common application of sorting, alphabetizing a list of names. First, type a list of names. You can use any names you like, friends, family, business, or community associates, or you can use the list shown here. Then, choose the Merge Sort option. Control F9. At the prompt, select 2. At the next prompt, just return, as the default is screen. At the second prompt, you can return again, or you can select another named file. We will sort to the screen here by hitting return. The menu on the bottom half of your screen allows you to choose what and how WordPerfect will sort your list. It is a somewhat confusing menu, but with practice, it will make sense. The default is set up to sort the first word of the first field in ascending alphabetical order by line. You can define a variety of fields and sort by number as well as letter, ascending or descending, by line or paragraph, etc. For now, we will change only one thing to sort our list alphabetically by last name. Choose Option 3, Keys. You want to leave this alphanumerical, so move the cursor over using your right arrow key. We want to sort Field 1, so leave this as is, and move the cursor over again using your arrow key. We want to sort the second word, so type a 2, then hit F7 to save the change. Then select 1 to perform the sort action, and your list is sorted. Save, name, and exit this document. We'll save it and call it Names 1. Using macros is another way to shorten the time it takes to do repetitive word processing tasks. A macro is a recording somewhat like a tape recording, but macros record keystrokes and play them back much faster than you can type. They can be recalled and played back over and over, anywhere within your WordPerfect documents you want them. Let's record a macro for the closing of a letter. First, you will need to define your macro using the macro define key, Control F10. At the prompt, name your macro. The name can be almost anything, but the shorter the better. We'll call this one End. At the next prompt, describe the macro concisely. This description will be useful later if you forget your macro names and/or what is in them. The flashing Macro Define prompt tells you that everything you type now will be recorded until you turn off the define command. Type your closing language and end the macro with the Control F10 key. To play back the macro, you use the macro or Alt F10 key. At the prompt, type the macro name and return. Your closing appears instantly. Macros are stored as files, and you can specify paths when naming them, as well as look at them in directories. Let's look at our first macro in the directory. Use the F5 List Files key, and then return to view a list of the current directory files. Find and highlight the file called end.wpm. WordPerfect gives macros this extension automatically. Choose Option 6, or press Enter to look at the file. You see the description we gave, followed by a page break and the coded program language of the macro. Exit back to your document by pressing the Enter key, followed by the function key F7. Your macros are still saved, since they are separate individual files. You can set up format macros with tabs and margins as you want them for various types of documents, letters, reports, notes, etc. In long documents, you can record and recall various format macros rather than manually changing formats. Let's move on to talk about columns. WordPerfect allows you to define and type columns in a variety of styles to make attractive, visually interesting documents, such as flyers and newsletters. Let's explore columns by looking at this neighborhood newsletter. You can type the name and headline if you like, or make up your own. For now, let's go right into the column feature. Alt F7 takes you into the Math column menu. Choose option 1 for columns, then 3 for define. At the text column definition menu, select 1, and you see 3 options: newspaper, parallel, and parallel with block protect. The newspaper option would give you columns that snake from the bottom to the top of a whole page. You might choose this option if you had very long articles, or if you were cutting and pasting after typing. But if you are typing moderate-length articles and doing all editing on screen, you will probably want to choose parallel or parallel with block protect. Option 2, parallel, will give you the most flexibility. For our next example, we will choose 2. Next, select option 2 to change the number of columns. We'll type a 3 and return. You can change the margins and space between columns in the same manner. WordPerfect also does this automatically for you. Use the Exit key to save these changes. The columns are defined, but not in force. To turn on the column format, select 1 for column on. Check your status line and you'll see a column 1 indication. Now you can type your first column of text. You don't have to return at the end of lines. WordPerfect uses word wrap within columns just like it normally does without the column feature turned on. When you're ready to move to your second column of text, use Control-Enter together, and the cursor jumps up to the beginning of the second column. Type the text of your second column, and when you reach the end, again use Control-Enter to move to the top of your third column. When you come to the end of the text you want in columns, deactivate the column feature by going back to the columns menu. Use Alt F7. Select 1 for columns, and then 2 for columns off, and your status line indicates no columns are in effect now. You can edit these 3 columns of text, but moving around is a little tricky. Move to the ends of lines within columns using Home and arrow keys, and move from column to column with Alt and arrow keys. If you want to combine columns, go to the top of column 2 and backspace. Then when you want your second column to start, use Control-Enter again. It will take some playing around with columns to get used to how they work, but the effects you can get are well worth it. We will save, name, and exit this document and call it News. Now let's talk about the outlining feature. This feature will help you structure an outline, and after the outline is created, the entire outlining style can be changed instantly, and editing causes numbers to automatically renumber. As an example, let's make an outline of an annual sales meeting. First, we'll give the outline a heading. Then to turn on the outline feature, use the Date Outline key, Shift F5. From the Date Outline menu, select option 4, Outline, then 1 for On. The prompt indicates the outline feature is turned on. To get the first outline number, press Enter. You can space over or tab over, but if you tab, you have to hit the space bar first, or else you will get another outline level number. Type your text and return twice. Type in the second line and press Enter twice. Then type in a third line and press Enter twice. Tab over once, and the correct letter appears. Again, type your text, spacing over, and return, repeating this procedure through a full outline. Experiment to see how many levels you can reach. Our example takes you through 2 of 8 available. When you edit, position your cursor to the right of the number you want to change and press Shift-Tab. The next number down changes accordingly. To restore the change, just press Tab again and space over if needed. You can also change outline styles after you have already created your outline. Place your cursor just above the first number of the outline. Go into the Date Outline menu using Shift F5. Select option 6 for Define. Look at the line called Current Definition, and then type 2, 3, 4, and 5 in succession, noting how the styles change. Choose one. We'll try number 2, and save the change with the F7 key twice. Arrow down and notice how the outline style changes. You can change the style as many times as you want to, and refine the style further, defining your own if you like. Using this document, let's talk about windows. You can look at 2 documents at once and move between them to edit. Use Control F3, the screen key, to get into the screen menu. Choose option 1 for window. At the prompt, choose 12 lines and enter, which will split the screen in 2. You can make the screens unequal sizes if you like by typing a number greater or less than 12. To move from your current document into the blank half of the screen, you again use F3, but combined with Shift this time. This is the switch key. Now you're into the second screen, and you can retrieve any document you like or create a new one. Let's try retrieving the file Joe Memo. Just do it the regular way. To switch to the top document, again use the switch key, Shift F3. You can exit either document first. Let's exit the outline document. At the Exit Document prompt, answer Yes, and then your cursor will jump to the second screen, which you can exit or restore to a full screen size. Let's restore the size. Use Control F3, and at the prompt, choose Window again. At the second prompt, type 24 lines and enter to restore the full screen size. You can also switch back and forth from 2 documents without splitting the screen. Simply use Shift F3 and you are into a blank screen where you can retrieve or create a document. Use the switch key, Shift F3, to return to your document. Let's make a multi-page document here by retrieving another document into this document. Go to the end of the current document and then retrieve one of your others. Merger, for instance. Now we can talk about headers and footers, which are used for multi-page documents. They both serve the same purpose, to insert certain information on every page. A header does it at the head or top of your page, and a footer does it at the foot or bottom of your page. WordPerfect allows a great deal of flexibility with both headers and footers. First, go to the beginning of the page you want the header to first appear, often page 2. But in this case, we'll go to page 1. To get into the Format menu, use Shift F8. Select 2 for page format. Then select 3 or 4 for headers or footers. We'll do headers here. Header A is the first header. You can also do a header B, 2 headers all together in a document. Press 1 for header A. We'll choose 2 for a header on every page. A blank screen appears on which to type the header. You can type as much text as you like, although the general idea is to stay within the top margin, generally 1 inch. Type your text, save the changes you've made, and get back to your document using F7. You can check your header without actually printing by going into the Print menu. Use Shift F7. Option 6 is View Document. Experiment with the various options on this screen, 100%, 200%, etc. This size is amusing. You can scroll through this document in the usual way, although you cannot edit. Edit with F7. If you are a student, you are familiar with the need for footnotes and endnotes in research papers. Either kind of note is easily created with WordPerfect in pretty much the same way. Let's try doing an endnote. For convenience, we will use our current document on the screen for this exercise. Position your cursor to the right of the word where you want the note to appear. Use Control F7 to get into the Footnote menu. We'll select 2 for EndNote, and in the EndNote menu, we'll choose 1 for Create. This takes us into a special screen where we can create our note and later edit it if necessary. You never have to worry about numbering footnotes or endnotes. WordPerfect does this automatically and automatically renumbers them if there are deletions or additions. When you're finished typing your note, exit with F7. The footnote feature works much the same way as endnotes. The thesaurus feature of WordPerfect allows you to search for synonyms and antonyms for words either in or not in your text, and to replace words in your text from the thesaurus. To use the thesaurus, choose a word in your text to look up and move your cursor to it. We'll try looking up planning here. Choose the thesaurus key, Alt F1, and a thesaurus screen is displayed. The thesaurus will offer possible nouns, verbs, adjectives, and antonyms, and also display words and subgroups of words very close in meaning. Words with dots beside them are head words, words which can be looked up in the thesaurus. To replace planning, make sure there is a letter next to the word you want to choose. You can move the letters from column to column with your arrow keys. Choose one for replace word. Then choose the letter which is beside the word you want. Alt F1 takes you back into the thesaurus, where you can look up a word by selecting that feature, number 3, and typing the letter next to the word with a dot beside it. You may have to make modifications to the new word as we are doing here. To exit the thesaurus, use F7. Search and replace are two very useful features of WordPerfect. With search, you can quickly find text if you remember words or phrases, but not the page number where the text is located. Both search and replace can be done forward and backward from your cursor location. If you want to search an entire document, it would be best to go to the beginning or end of the document. To search forward, use your F2 key. To search backward, use Shift F2. Let's try a forward search. Hit F2, and at the prompt, type the word or phrase you want to search for. We are typing in sincerely. Hit F2 again to begin the search. When no other sincerely words can be found, a message will briefly appear stating that the word you were searching for is not found. If you search for a common word like he, the search will stop on all words containing he as demonstrated. To avoid this, you only need to space before and after the search language word you type in. If you enter your search in lowercase letters, the search will stop on lower and uppercase occurrences. If you enter your search language in uppercase, it will stop only on uppercase occurrences. Search and replace is useful for long documents in which you discover by the end you've misspelled every occurrence of a name or date, for instance. To search and replace, use Alt F2. At the prompt, answer yes if you want to stop on each occurrence and no if you don't want to. Be careful with this. If you replaced every occurrence of miss with Ms, for instance, without stopping to check, you could end up with some pretty peculiar words in your text. After answering yes or no, you choose the direction of your search with your up and down arrow keys. Down sends the search forward, up sends it backward. Enter the language you want to search for. We'll search for Smith. Then hit Alt F2. Type the replacement language, Smythe, and hit Alt F2 again. You can extend your search into headers, footers, and footnotes. You can also insert codes with your replacement language. We've reached the end of this video. WordPerfect offers hundreds of options to choose from. And the more you play, the more fun you'll have creating ever more visually complex and interesting documents.